Patrick Wisdom's back tightened up, and he wasn't able to finish practice. And Craig Counsell and the Cubs have a worry. What are they going to do? Counsell called it concerning. We're going to talk about some of the internal and external options to replace Wisdom if he's not ready to go. One guy that had a back issue but is starting to get that thing resolved is pitcher Jameson Taillon. Taillon started throwing this week. We're going to talk about the timeline for him to return. And what if the Cubs were able to beat Roman Reigns and The Rock in WrestleMania and they won the belt? What would that look like? We're going to talk about that as well. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the bell so you know when we're dropping new shows. And let's get this thing started. Go Cubs. What do you say, everybody? It's Mick Gillispie. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel, and it is great to talk to you guys today. Been a Cubs fan for over 40 years and have been in the organization for closing in on 20, and it is really fantastic to have this avenue to talk Cubs baseball with you guys on a daily basis, especially when there's a lot going on, and we're getting closer and closer to opening day. And here's what the schedule looks like. You're talking about the Cubs with the A's and the Rockies, Giants, split squad on Saturday, Brewers on Sunday, and then all of a sudden you're in the stretch run, Mariners and Cardinals, and then there it is, 2 Thursdays from now, not this Thursday, but next Thursday in Arlington against the World Series champions, Cubs and Rangers, to start the regular season. So that's exciting. And we're closing in on opening day. Now, with that said, something that is a concern is Patrick Wisdom and his back. And what does that mean to the Cubs? And I mentioned before, and I'm going to read this. Our friend Patrick Mooney from The Athletic at PJ_Mooney wrote this yesterday. Cubs infielder Patrick Wisdom continues to deal with a back issue that's putting his opening day in doubt. Cubs manager Craig Counsell, and this is the quote, "Not really sure what's going to happen next, but obviously it's concerning that we had to stop today." So it's some stiffness in his back. It's been bothering him. He's a big, strong guy. Going to see the doctor. We'll find out what the deal is here soon. But remember, at the beginning of spring, he was dealing with a quad issue. And Wisdom now, a 32-year-old guy, big, strong guy, very muscular. Sometimes, though, when you get muscular like that, the older you get, your muscles tighten up and you're not as nimble as you once were. So you wonder, I mean, he's probably one of the strongest guys on the team, and it looks like he lifts a lot of weights. So I don't know if that's part of it or not. I just know that the old timers used to talk about never wanting guys to lift weights. I'm talking about when I first got into baseball, they didn't want guys to get over strong and because of this kind of stuff. They were always worried about muscles tightening, and for baseball players, it's good to be nimble. But, we'll find out if that's, I think that some people don't even feel like that's true. Obviously, for him, he's just dealing with some issues right now, and the Cubs would like to have him back. With that said, what are the internal options and what are the external options? Okay, internally, this opens the door for someone else to make the team. And you wonder what it means for Wisdom and his long-term stability with the Cubs, right? I mean, it's not like he's a starter. I mean, he's a backup. And then if you're dealing with injuries, what does that mean, right? Alexander Canario was a guy who I was thinking, okay, this guy has a chance to make the team. Then I start doing the math, and of all the young players that started out in spring training, I felt like he probably had the second to best odds. I thought Pete Crow Armstrong had the best odds, and PCA just did not perform. And he was part of the first cut. Owen Casey and Matt Shaw had two of the best springs for young players, but they don't have the experience to make the team right now. So they both got sent back. So it's Canario, who you feel like has an opportunity. So this possibly could open the door for him. The other guys that I thought about were Dom Smith and Garrett Cooper. And Al Yellen, it was great to talk with him from Bleed Cubby Blue. We got into the roster on a show yesterday. And I felt like the Cubs were going to keep Garrett Cooper or Dom Smith as a backup for Michael Busch, just in case, right? But then you also have Cody Bellinger, who does the same thing and is playing center field, but could play first base. So maybe you might not need that. Although this was a situation where you felt like Wisdom was also a guy that could have possibly platooned at first. You know, we've seen him do that, play in the third base as well. So I guess Canario, Cooper, and Smith, you know, obviously have a shot now, a better shot to make the team. Then it's hard to really tell how Craig Counsell sees everything. You know, David Bodie's had a great spring. Al thought he had a chance to make it. I still feel like it's a long shot for Bodie, but it would be great for the team to see someone who really busted their butt, did so well this spring, make the team. Like, results matter, effort matters. But things would have to happen. He's not on the 40-man. But it's the same thing with Smith and Cooper, who signed minor league deals to join the team. And maybe they were just an insurance policy for Cody Bellinger before he signed. So we'll find out. But this does kind of change things a little bit, because you feel like Smith and Wisdom and Cooper are all kind of the same type of player. Now, another guy that you could think about is JD Martinez. Martinez was with the Dodgers last year. He's a DH, and he put up really good numbers. He hit 33 home runs. He had 103 runs batted in. Lost his job when LA signed Ohtani, but he was an all-star. He's been an all-star 3 straight years, and he's been an all-star 5 out of 6 seasons, and no one has signed him. He had 27 doubles last year to go along with the 33 home runs. So, I mean, he's a professional hitter. The problem that you have with Martinez, and I'm not even talking about the financial part of this, but it's just that he doesn't play in the field anymore. I mean, last year he DH'd, and the year before that with the Red Sox, he DH'd. Now, he used to play the outfield, but that, you know, that's been a while now. And you know, I don't watch him enough to know what his skill set is to play in the field. But if you sign him, then all of a sudden now you're taking the DH spot and it's his. Not to say that would be a bad thing, because the guy puts up tremendous numbers, and I think that he would be a force in the lineup. Although Christopher Morel would really have to lock down that third base job, because I would be a little reluctant to sign a DH, knowing that if Morel fails at third, now I've got to put somebody at third, and what are you going to do with Morel? But are the Cubs interested in Martinez? I haven't heard that, but I did read, and this is kind of what got my, kind of what got me thinking about it, is that you read stuff every day, and you know, I'm looking at Bleacher Nation, and they wrote a story about the possibility of, what would it look like? And so, hey, it's definitely worth throwing it out there and talking about it. But, is this something that is realistic? And, and what would the money be like if the Cubs were to sign JD Martinez? I mean, it would surely put them over the first level of luxury tax. And some people feel like they're already over it when you talk about bonuses and different things that happen, if you call guys up and you got to put them on there. So who knows? But could that be a possibility? If you didn't have Patrick Wisdom, this is a guy who you put a professional hitter right in the middle of your lineup, maybe. I mean, but I haven't heard anything on that front. I just read that and thought, hey, it's definitely worth thinking about. And the way that the Blake Snell contract that was, just signed between he and the Giants looks, it's another one of these deals where it's short, a lot of money, but opt-outs. It's nowhere near the deal that Scott Boras thought he was going to get. And he also represents Martinez. And the players are very upset right now. And I'm sure some of you guys have read that. They're wanting some changes to be made within their union because of the way that this offseason has gone for free agents. So, we'll see what happens on that front. But part of it is that the money just isn't there like it was before these regional TV networks started to go downhill. All right. One guy who has dealt with his back issues and is now starting to get closer to pitching, throwing, and that's Jameson Taillon. He started throwing this week. And if everything goes well, you can start to put together a timeline for Taillon as far as like when could he be back with the Cubs. And when you start to do all the math and you look at it, after the pitchers with the 3 off days go through their second time in the rotation, you could slide him in possibly at the end of that. And with those 3 days mixed in, and we looked at the schedule already, the spring training schedule, but when you look at the regular season schedule, the Cubs, they've got the Rangers and then off, and then a couple games against the Rangers and then off. And you just have, there's a lot of built-in off days. Also an off day in that home series to the first home series of the season's 3 against Colorado, then off, and then the Dodgers come in, so, and then they go and play San Diego and then they're off again. So there's a lot of off days to start the year. And it really gives the Cubs an opportunity to let Taillon start to kind of get healthy again. And not only that, to get stretched out, part of it's feeling good. And then the other part of it is, getting up to where you can throw 100 pitches, and that's normally the bar now in the major leagues as far as, how many pitches is a guy going to come in and throw as a starter. They want you to be around 100. And that's something that Craig Counsell has talked about as well. So as this thing moves forward, we'll keep an eye on that timeline. And, we talked about it yesterday, and it just feels like you got Justin Steele and Shota Imanaga and Kyle Hendricks and Jordan Wicks. And then I think Javier Assad. Al seemed to think it was Drew Smiley. Hayden Wesneski's in that mix as well. So the Cubs have some options. I don't want to say they're super deep with starting pitching, but they do have options, and that's a good thing. All right, final thing that I talked about. So what if the Cubs won WrestleMania? Well, the reason why is that somebody sent me this today, and I just thought that this was absolutely hilarious. I mean, when you have everything Cubs, but you don't have this. This is a WWE Championship Cubs belt. They got one for every single team. This belt cost $549. So $550 gets you that, which means that the belt is pretty legit. I mean, like, it's going to be heavy, and it's got steel, and it's got like all the logos in there, kind of put together like, like if That was like something that you would win if you pinned someone in a wrestling match. I'll never forget when the Cubs won the World Series, seeing Chris Bryant holding up the championship belt during the parade and stuff, but it wasn't like this one. So if any of you guys feel like you have everything Cubs, like our friend Crawley, and you have this amazing man cave, maybe $549.99 isn't that big of a deal to you, and you want the Cubs WWE Championship Belt. I think that would definitely spruce up your collection. And WrestleMania is just around the corner, and it should be a good one this year. All right, that's it. We're going to keep an eye on everything going on with this roster. Obviously, now that Wisdom is again dealing with injuries, Magical dealing with some injuries, opens the door for some other guys, maybe Bodie. Obviously Master Boney, I think, has a good chance to make the team. And then, what about Garrett Cooper? What about Dom Smith? What about Alexander Canario? And then do the Cubs go out and just pull, a splash type of signing and go out and get a Martinez? Where's he going to end up? Jordan Montgomery is still available out there. Some pretty good players that are available on the free agent market, but do the Cubs want to put themselves in that category where they go way over the tax barrier? I just don't have the feeling that that's something that they're really comfortable with, at least not right now. I think if you get a couple months in and you're contending, I think you may feel different about that, but anyway, we'll see. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That's a great way of saying go Cubs. And we will talk to you guys again really, really soon.